Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Mid-Wester here today with the BBR Season 3 Draft Analysis. So, before we get any further, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more Draft League content, and click the bell in the top right corner if you want a notification whenever I upload. So, if you don't already know, I am the commissioner of the BBR. It's a league I've been running for over a year now. And it's just, super exciting that we've made it into Season 3. Last season was amazing, so we had such a quick turnaround. Last season was just so much fun, so hyped. We had so many amazing coaches, and I felt like we all, just felt like a little family. It was just a perfect season, and I'm glad that Season 3 is right around the corner. Well, right here, so we do have new coaches. We went from 16 coaches to 20 coaches, and we have so many new faces. Make sure to check them all out in the description below. All their YouTube links will be down there. Make sure to check out the BBR Discord if you want to be in the fan server. Check out the Twitter, follow it. We have a BBR YouTube. I'll be uploading the draft stream too. And check out the BBR fan website. You'll be able to see everybody's teams. You'll be able to see their schedules, how many kills what mon has. So it's just a great way to get to know the league better. So let's get into the actual draft. I believe I'm just double checking real quick. I got 13th out of 20th, so not the greatest spot, but last season I got a pretty bad spot too, and then I made semifinals of the league, which so maybe I can do that again this season. So for my first one, and I forgot to say, this is post Crown Tundra. So, we get all these new mods. We get Tapu Koko, we got, all the Tapus, we got Victini. All these mods that came back in the Crown Tundra are eligible. We did allow some new mods, we allowed Mew and G-Darm. Let me look at what we banned. We banned all the Calyrex Ice, Calyrex Shadow. We banned most of the box art legendaries, especially the broken ones. We banned Pheromosa. But obviously, if you want to go to the website to look at all the tierings and look at what we banned and what we didn't ban, that'll be the best way to see what we did. So for the first mon of the draft, I got Melmetal. So Melmetal is a mon that's been good the entire, so far of Gen 8. It's just been kind of a staple Gen 8 mon that doesn't have a switch in. It's a mon I've used twice so far. I had G-Max Melmetal in APA Academy and regular Melmetal in the latest BBL Showdown season. And both times, I just absolutely loved it. So I just wanted to have regular Melmetal and Wi-Fi. It can do so many different things. It can be Iron Defense, Body Press, boost my defense so I can Body Press and live those hits better. I can just be Choice Band because it gets so much coverage to hit at least everything neutrally. It gets double Iron Bash, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Earthquake High Horsepower, Darkest Lariat, Earthquake. So it can hit everything for the damage it needs to. It has an insane HP stat at base 135, and then its attack and defense are both 143. Its Spadef and speed leave a bit to be desired. But this is one I am very comfortable with, and I know I can build around to, make this a very good team. I didn't mention that we did change the drafting. We upped the amount of mons you have to get to 11, and we put the budget down to 1100. That might have been a mistake, but we saw multiple leagues. We saw a league do it the same way, and they're doing fine. So hopefully we'll do fine. But Melmetal is a mon that I'm extremely comfortable with. And most people don't like Melmetal because they don't like having to run Bandit every week. But I don't think you have to do that with Melmetal. It can do so many different things, run so many different items. It can be, Band, it can be Resist Berry, it can be Assault Vest to live those special hits a little bit better. It can be Resto Chesto. It's just a one I know I can do very well with and be very comfortable with. So next up, I had to wait 15 picks or so because it went 13 to 20, then back to 13. So I got a mon that just came back, Salamence. I got my Dragon and my Steel for my Fairy Dragon Steel Core. And these mons fit perfectly together. Salamence, it deals with ground types. It can switch into fire type attacks that Melmetal doesn't like. And it beats the grass types that Melmetal doesn't like. And, Salamence is just another mon I've used quite extensively that I love. And now, I believe it got Hurricane and Air Slash. So now it can actually run special. Because before, it never had a good flying stab. But now you can run special like Draco Meteor, Fire Blast, Hurricane, Air Slash, whatever other coverage move you need. It can also, still be just, the old standard Scarf Moxie set with Outrage. Because my boy Melmetal easily breaks those fairies for his element, so I can just run Choice Scarf, click Outrage, and then just get a bunch of kills. And they both can break steel types very easily for each other. Melmetal, whether I'm clicking Body Press or Earthquake, Salamence with Earthquake or like Fire Blast, so these two monsters pair really well together. I've already spent, almost 400 points on just two mons, but these two mons work really well together. Melmetal also deals with the Ice type Salamence doesn't like. Salamence can run, Intimidate or Moxie, and it does get access to Wish, so I can always bring a bulky Salamence and then Wish up into my Melmetal, but I don't think it will be entirely necessary looking at my next mon, because I got Sylveon. This is another one I had in APA Academy back at the beginning of the gen right after Home came out. And I finished my Fairy Dragon Steel Core. I just feel like Sylveon works really well with this team, whether it's for Wish passing, clicking Hyper Voice to, kill Dragon types or whatever wants to switch in. It gets Mystical Fire to break Steel types. I can Wish Baton Pass in the Melmetal, so if I use it as a breaker early on and it gets weakened, I can Wish into it so it gets back to full health. It can just be that much threatening again. My opponent's team is very, weakened, and I can just click Double Iron Bash and just kill everything. This mon I feel like will most likely be like defensive almost every time I use it, but it's also just so strong with the Pixelate ability, so I can, get Pixelate boosted Hyper Voices. And I can just, coming off that base 110 special attack. It's also very nice Spit F-wise, with its 95 HP and 130 Spit F. So it's the opposite of Melmetal. Melmetal can be the physical wall, while Sylveon can be the special wall. And, yeah. So this mon, it does really well so far. It gives me momentum into my Melmetal. I can hit so many things super strong with that Hyper Voice. I can call Mind Sweep if I wanted to. I did that in a different league. I did an upload. And it does a few things, but it does those few things very well. And I can Heal Bell, so I can get rid of burns on the Melmetal or Salamence. So, and it deals with the fighting types Melmetal struggles with. I can easily switch in, then Hyper Voice, scare them out. So I'm super excited to use it. It's a mon that I've used multiple times, and I've never felt left down by it. So next up, we have Minshao. I believe this was the kill leader last season, which is totally surprising. You don't look at Minshao like, man, that mon's going to be a kill leader. But I believe my good pal, Diet Tight, I'm pulling up the stats from last season. All time. It actually wasn't kill leader. It was just 4 points behind, but actually that kill leader includes playoffs, so Minshao was actually the kill leader for BBR Season 2, and that just makes me want to try it even more after watching Diet Type, my good pal, use it all season. It gives me more U-turn support into the Salamence, into any of my mons. I can U-turn into them and force my opponents out. They bring in their Psychic type, and I can just U-turn out into my Melmetal or Sylveon. Either hit him with a Double Iron Bash or a Hyper Voice. And, just throwing them out. I can knock off, I can U-turn. It did get access to close combat, so you don't have to run high jump kick anymore and risk the miss. And it's most of the time this mon will be a choice Scarfer just because it's very good at doing that job. It's based 105 speed, which, isn't super fast, but in this Galar Dex, it is. And it helps me revenge a lot of things like a Hydreigon, just anything below base 105. And it'll run the same moves every week, close combat, U-turn, knockoff, poison jab. I believe it even gets blaze kick. I can also, if I want to, I can run an SD set, I get my opponent's weakened into the range I need. I click SD and I can just win. And I still can run, Reckless High Jump Kick if I need that much more damage output, and I don't mind risking the miss. But it's so nice with the Regenerator because you force so many mons out with this that you can just U-turn out, and I can get my health back. And I can also run Inner Focus, so I'm immune to Intimidate, which is always super nice. So Minshao is just a mon that I haven't really used that often, but after just watching it last season, it's a mon I really want to try. And I think pairs well with this team because it really helps me break those bulky steals like the rest of my mons can deal with, but don't particularly want to, so I force out the steel types that the rest of my team kind of struggles with, and it's just super useful. So next up, I got my boy Pallaswine. Pallaswine isn't, like a top tier mon, but like it's baby Mammo. It does what you need it to. It still has base 100 attack, only 50 speed, but with base 100 attack and 2 dual stabs you don't really switch into. I think it's really nice. It gives me my first rocker, which I really need because rocks are always super nice, so you can get mons in. It turns those it can turn in 3 hit KOs into 2 hit KOs and whatnot. Just chip damage is always super nice if I'm forcing a switch. Like if I'm forcing a switch, I can set up those stealth rocks, and even though boots are a big help this gen, forcing my opponents to run boots instead of a choice scarf or a choice band or whatever item would benefit them more otherwise is always super useful. It'll run the same moves every week like Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard. I can run Freeze Strike for water types, high horsepower if I'm in grassy terrain. It gets rock coverage with Rock Slide and Stone Edge. I can Toxic the water types on the switch in, so this mon is not very it just does the same thing every week, but it does its job very well, and it gives me a ground type, so electric types can't just come in and spam Volt Switch and get in my opponent's bigger threats, or just make it to where they can't run a Choice Specs Thunderbolt and just 6-0 me off lead. Because that's what you always need a ground type. So you don't auto lose to. There's a few types you always need in the game. You always want a fairy so you don't auto lose to a Choice Band Dragon type. You always need a ground type so you don't auto lose to electric types. And you want a dark type so you don't auto lose to psychic types. So I have 2 of those typings so far. Eventually I will get a dark type, but not this round. But there is a type you usually do want that I forgot to mention, and I got it with my next pick. I got Quillfish. I got the water and poison type Quillfish. It's a mon that I've seen used a lot more this gen. Just between with Vepsis has used it very well, and I believe AP Academy and GDL. I believe he swept D-Ray with it 6-0 with a sword stance set, he just couldn't break it. This mon is a poison type, so I can absorb those T-spikes. Even though my team isn't super T-spike weak, it's nice having those poison types so my opponents don't set them up, and then I let everything get poisoned and whittled down, and I just, I lose. And it's always nice having a water type to, usually you want your water type to switch into ground types, but unfortunately, because Quillfish is poison type, it doesn't switch into those, but I have enough mons where ground types aren't, super threatening. I have switch-ins to those mons, ground types. But this mon can set up its own T-spikes if my opponent doesn't have them. I can just, set them up and whittle his team down very fast. It also gets regular spikes, which, is a great hazard. I can set them up to 3 times, and then every time my opponent comes in, they take 25%. So Quillfish is just a mon that I felt really fit well in this team. Is being able to set up those hazards to make it easier for my Melmetal. To break down teams and then Salamence to sweep later on, or for Minshao to break down and then sweep later on. I just thought it was super nice. It gives me Intimidate support, so I can deal with those physical attackers just a little bit easier. And I just think it fits well on this team. So next up, I got Alolan Persian. It's a dark type. As I said, you always need a dark type, so your opponents can't just run Calm Mind, Acid Armor, Recover, Store Power, or Psychic. It at least forces them to run the Focus Blast or the Dazzling Gleam. But this mon just, base 115 speed, I can knock off, I can taunt, I can Parting Shot out to lower my opponent's attack and special attack, and that makes it easier for my Salamence, Melmetal, or Sylveon, just to come in and then click their respective setup button, Dragon Dance with Salamence, Iron Defense with Melmetal, Calm Mind with Sylveon. So it just makes it that much easier. It's it's not super bulky, but It also gives me a ghost resist, so I'm on like Gengar can't just come in and click Shadow Ball 6 times and win. So, and it can, it can taunt to stop the setup process, to, stop rocks or hazards from coming up. And it just fits super well. It's a mon I'm comfortable with. I've used it multiple times, and it'll never be your kill leader, but it'll do what it needs to, and just do good at that. So now we got my boy Vikavolt. It's a sticky whipper, which I think is super nice for this team, so I'm not forced to run Choice Scarf Menshao every week. It makes it easier for Salamence not to be to be revenge killed. I can just run like a Life Orb and then just drop Dracos, because everything will be slower due to these sticky webs. And this gives me a mon that breaks bulky waters that otherwise I kind of struggled with. I really did. I can roost up. It really enjoys boots, and yeah, and it helps break bulky grass types that my team doesn't super struggle with. But it's just a great wall breaker with that base 145 special attack. Pretty slow, but I can run agility, and then outspeed most non-Choice Scarf mons. Just Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, Bug Buzz, all you need. Thunderbolt to, as a good stab, Bug Buzz for another good stab, and break grass types, and then Energy Ball for those ground types. If I get agility up and outspeed everything, I can very easily win late game when its checks are very weakened. And if I'm not running agility, I can use Sticky Web Volt Switch, and as my opponent's pivots comes in, I can just Volt Switch out into a mon that beats their pivots. So this is another mon I'm super comfortable with, and I think pairs super well with this team. My next 3 picks are kind of iffy. As you can see, I only have 100 points left. I really haven't touched on that, but I have 100 points left for 3 mons. So I believe I get 2 40-point mons and then a 20-point mon. So the mon I drafted next was Eldegoss. This is a mon I drafted in EWT and then said I would never draft again. But here we are. It's not a great mon at all, but it at least forces prep with Rapid Spin, just so my opponents can't they can still hazard stack me, because I'm never going to bring in Eldegoss. But at least it's at least he has one way of removing hazards, which, is okay. It's not great. I'm not going to talk it up like it is. It's just an Eldegoss that I was kind of forced to draft, so I'm just hoping it won't be too underwhelming, in all honesty. Again, Stun Spore, it gets 2 coverage moves. It gets Pollen Puff and whatever grass move you want, Giga Drain or Energy Ball. I did see Brendan use Glossifer and LC, and he would run Leaf Storm and then whatever move lets you switch out after your stats have been dropped. It's another Regenerator mon. There's not really much else it does. Next up, we have Oranguru. It's a normal type, so I at least have a immunity to ghost types. It gives me a psychic type, so it's not even that good of a mon, but base 90 special attack. It's bulky enough to set up Trick Room for my Melmetal. It's not slow enough to use Trick Room for itself, but it can, set it up, attack a turn, die, and let him Melmetal. It can, run Psychic. I believe it gets Nasty Plot. It gets Calm Mind. So I could run Calm Mind, Rest, Sleep Talk, Stored Power. My opponent doesn't have a Dark type. And I will deal with Dark types very well with Sylveon and my Mienshao. It's this one might actually be able to do some work. I don't know. But it's at least a mon that at least forces some prep. I don't know if I'll ever bring it or use it, but it's at least decent. And for our final mon of the draft, we have Mudbray. There was just nothing else in 20 points I wanted. I wanted Noctowl again, but D-Ray sniped me of it just because it destroyed him last season. And he saw how much work I was putting in with it. Even though it didn't get many kills, it just broke down a lot of teams for the rest of my team to, sweep. So Mudbray was just a secondary ground type, gives me another rocker. And that's really about it. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave it comments down below on how you think this team's going to do and what do you think our record's going to be. Top 8 teams make playoffs. So if you think I'm going to make playoffs, leave it down in the description. Make sure to go check out all the other draft analysis that are going up. And I'll see you all next time.